Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to never miss a video from Fever FM.
But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we've got the man Tesher with us today. This is Fever Originals. I'm your host, RJ Glenn. This is EP 134. I have the man out here. Brother, your song is the #1 song on my countdown list. It is the #1 song in the world. You're the reigning champ right now. What are your thoughts? Or just like your Indian brother, I will ask you, beta, kitna paisa kamaya?
Oh man, it's I'm doing well for myself. No, I'm so happy. I mean, for this song to hit this height after so long in the making is always really good to see. Both the success in India and around the world has been incredible. So it, more than anything, it's really a thank you to the fans for supporting the song and really bringing it into their lives, whether they're just having a good time chilling at home or at a wedding and trying to dance. It's been incredible to see.
See, my man, I'll tell you this. I said this on my show. Agar Tesher ka Jalebi Baby aapke sangeet mein nahi baja, then your sangeet, your marriage is not successful. I mean, every person getting married is dancing to this track. They're grooving to this track. But बहुत ही interestingly, right? The world needs to know this story, at least for people who don't know about this. So tell us, how was this track made?
So I made it in my basement. I made it in the same basement I'm in right now. It's funny. When I started making that song, it was actually like early January of 2020. So like Christmas and New Year's had already wrapped up. It's like kind of that time after the holidays when you're slowly getting back into life. And I had been away from music for 3 or 4 weeks because I was just busy with family and enjoying time back home. And I decided to just like remix the most popular song in the world at that time, just as like kind of more like exercise through music, just like practice. And at that time it was Yummy by Justin Bieber. And I wanted to make a remix of that song. And so I produced this whole new beat. And before I put it out, I decided to put my own verse on it. I thought there was something missing and I put my own verse on it. And then next thing you know, coronavirus happens, TikTok happens. Reels hadn't happened at that point, but it was more about TikTok at that time. And the part that went viral was my part, was from the beginning, like my verse with the "You got what I want, Sony," and also of course the "Baby Let Me See It" part. So think about that. Yeah, that was like March 2020 when that started to happen. And it just kind of was like a slow burn up until like November of 2020, where I thought, okay, people were really enjoying the song and everybody really wanted to hear a full version of the record. And, and I was also thinking like, if I ever go on tour one day, I can't just do like 30 seconds of this song. I have to do a full record. So honestly, I saw it as more like just a gift to the fans around Diwali time. It was like, so like November 2020 is Diwali. I'm like, okay.
All lit up for you, my man. The house is lit up for you.
I love it. But that was really the thinking. It was the full version was more of a gift, because I thought that my run with the song had already been out for months. I thought like, okay, it's just like a fun thing and I'm ready to move on to the next thing. But little did I know that just started a whole different trajectory of the song, which I guess one way or another led us to this point here. But yeah, I never set foot in the studio. The first time I ever set foot in the studio was at Jason Derulo's house in LA. But the whole song was made just in my basement. So yeah.
Man. But that's such an inspiration for people, for young artists who want to create music. You don't really have to worry about, a big, huge ass studio space. You don't have to worry about those things. You just got to create your stuff. You've got to be true to yourself and just go for it. Just do it and things will fall in place. And that's amazing. Mm-hmm. Your collab with Jason Derulo, I felt, what a bop collab. I mean, like, we call ourselves at Fever FM Entertainment Ka Bap. I thought you did the bap ka bap thing. You got the man to do Bhangra, man. And I mean, that was unbelievable. This whole Bollywood vibe that you added to the track, the whole video. How did all of that happen?
Oh, man. Jalebi Baby was doing really well internationally. It was like 50, 60 million views on YouTube. I was happy to say the least with how the song had done. And the success just kept coming. It was a lot of different countries where the song was hitting high chart placements in places where, they didn't even speak the language, which was always good to see. Because when I made the record, anytime I make a record, I don't really try to make it for like, oh, this is going to be just for the Indian market, even though it's primarily maybe in like Punjabi and like has elements of English in it. I always try to make my music for anybody can listen to it and just enjoy it, right? So the song was doing really well. People were starting to want to get involved. And I was like, the only way that I would ever want to partner with anybody on this record at this point would be that if I could take it to the mainstream. Because, me growing up in Canada, like I would love to just see it if it was like I'm driving down the street and in my radio it goes like Justin Bieber and then Tesher, Jalebi Baby, and like Dua Lipa. Like it would just go on mainstream radio in that order, just nothing out of the
Wow.
ordinary. Because we never had anything like that in a very long time. The last time we had anything close to that was, I think, Jeho in like 2008. So it was a
Right.
long time coming. And one of the ways that I would wanted to make that happen was through maybe the help of a Western feature. And honestly, Jason Derulo was one of the guys I had in mind to try to contact and try to like get the record done, because I could just hear him on the song. He can make these high energy international records, and he obviously understands the power of TikTok and Instagram Reels. But funny enough, he had reached out to me. I kind of want to say that I thought it into existence, or I manifested it, because he reached out to me over Instagram and was like, "Man, I love your song. It's very new. I haven't heard anything like this." And he believed in the record enough to want to get involved. When we made the video, the idea to get us to do Bhangra together was honestly something I had in mind from the beginning, because if you look at the collaborations that we've had in the past, whether it's, Akon doing Chamak Chalo, or Snoop doing Sing is King, or Jay-Z doing Munde Ato Bachke with Punjabi MC, we never really got to see those cultures come together as much as we wanted them to. Or even like Jay Sean doing Down with Lil Wayne. It was always like, we never saw Akon in the video for Chamak Chalo. We never saw Jay-Z with Punjabi MC. They were all collaborations that happened and they were great, but I thought we could take it to the next level with this. And I thought it was really important for people to see our two worlds coming together, especially in this time when everybody from India is trying to be Western and do it like this. I'm like, we have such a beautiful and strong culture, and Bollywood is something that the whole world looks to as its
Absolutely.
own style. And I think that, we also wanted to make sure we didn't do Hollywood's Bollywood, which has been often a thing that happens. And we wanted to do something that kind of came from my memories of just watching Bollywood movies and
You
loving that
wanted it
and
to be
trying to tap
more
into that.
authentic. You wanted to be more
Yes,
authentic, more real, that came from you rather than something that is a more caricaturish kinds. Okay.
exactly. Like, and to that end, we had a great, South Asian folks on the crew working on it. Like, I remember we had like some lamps on the set, and the lamps looked a little bit more Middle Eastern. It's like, that's like a classic thing that might happen when you have Hollywood working on the set, because it's like, to them, it's very easy to like mix our cultures together with like the Middle Eastern and the Bollywood, but it's important to have people that actually grew up watching Bollywood and know that world, because we can be like, no, this is how it's going to be. This is how it's going to look. We wanted that set to look somewhere between a Bollywood movie and also like a wedding reception in America. Because obviously we can't be Bollywood. We're out there in America. We have to do
Right.
something that blends our worlds together, that represents our unique experience.
That was amazing to get both the experiences to come together on one platform and create a very unique experiences. Something that we've not seen before, something that has probably happened, but maybe not as big as this. So I think this was definitely a huge ass collaboration. And of course, 2021, this track is reigning. This track is the reigning king. This track is the ultimate. I mean, Fever Originals. I've had a couple of people who tune into the show. They're like, dude, initially when we dropped the track, they're like, we've heard this track last year. What's this extra bit in this? Ye thoda alag lag raha hai. It's sounding a little different. Have you got an extended version of this track and all of that? I said, this is the collab that's happened. Tesher's done this collab. And I think it's fantastic, brother. But you've also done a very cool thing. तुमने जेसन को जलेबी भी बनवाया. इसके बारे में लोगों को जरा बताओ, ये कैसे हो गया?
I'll be honest, that was actually more just him wanting to do it. He was he was so into the whole just experience. He always, whenever we get on calls, he's like, man, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it 100%. And I'm like, brother, that's all I want, is that you lean into this and make it the best that it can be, because he knew that if he would lead into it, people would appreciate it and people would love to see it. So the biggest thing, like in our first conversations, he's like, well, when we were working on the song, he's like, I love the song, but what's a jalebi? And I explained to him, it's like a sweet, and it's like you take like the oil and then you have like the whole mix and then you pour it into the oil and it hardens. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna make it. And I'm like, Yeah, like for sure. Because if you see his TikToks, cooking is a thing that he just loves to do. So he's like, I might as well make a jalebi. And it's funny because we did it to promote the song, but a lot of people didn't even know that it was for the new song. But hey, anything we can do to bring a positive spotlight on our culture, I'm happy with. And I'm like, you know, people in the West only know like what butter chicken, tandoori chicken, curry, and naan. And that too, they call it naan bread, which is just bread. So if we can add jalebi onto the mix, man, why not, right? Anything we can do to bring our culture to the mainstream, I back it.
My man, you put jalebi on the world map. You brought jalebi once again to everyone's house, to everyone. Now, very soon, jalebi is going to be in everyone's tummies also. And I am very, very happy for this track. Brother, you've done fantastic with this track. The world is talking about it because of the honesty, because the awesomeness that you created this track with. What have people DM'd you? I mean, there are some crazy fans that DM you. I'm sure that you've got a couple of DMs. I'm sure you've received some really nice compliments from industry insiders. Have there been anybody, has there been anyone who has DM'd you in terms of, you know, musicians, artists who said they'd like to track, anything of that sort?
No, honestly, the support has been fantastic from the industry and also just fans. I think one that I'll share is Rishi Rich. Rishi Rich had reached out and he was very like, you know, I love what you're doing. Congratulations. And, you know, hearing from him meant a lot because he's somebody who's experienced this, you know, 10, 15 years before me with him doing records that were able to similarly, you know, bring our cultures together. He did like an official remix for Me Against the World for Britney Spears back in like 2003, which was huge if you think about how Britney Spears was just the queen of pop at that time. So he understands that world and he understands how much these moments can mean to our culture. He set the groundwork, you know, it's his foundation. People like him, Jay Sean, Punjabi MC, who I mentioned, and of course, A.R. Rahman. It's those people doing what they did in the early 2000s that have allowed me to make this leap and to bring Jalebi Baby to the world. So to hear from people like that and also positive things is super great just for me, not only just as a musician, knowing that I'm being appreciated by other musicians, but also from my childhood idols, which is a crazy thing to think like, oh man, the guy who I listened to growing up is now in my Instagram DMs congratulating me. It's a wonderful feeling.
I mean, I know the feeling is surreal, but I'm sure, you know, a lot of this love is flowing. A lot of this love is coming to you. We're all excited for your further projects. What is it that you're going to be presenting to the world now in the near future? Are we going to have pedas? Are we going to have any more Indian sweets on the world map? Any more of the Indian cuisine on the world map?
Honestly, no. I hate to say it, but I think I'm happy with the jalebis. I'm going to leave the Indian sweets at that. But I will say, honestly, I mean, I'm trying to be Brown Shakira, honestly. I want to be an artist that can exist in both worlds. A lot of times when we've had brown artists, South Asian artists, we've had it where they can only they have to exist in either the brown world in South Asia and in India, Pakistan, and like just the Punjabi industry, and that's it. Or they're in the Western industry and they only make Western music and that's it. And very few times have we have artists been able to do it on a very, very big scale, as I'm trying to do, and exist in both worlds. That's honestly what I want to do. I want to be able to like go to India and make a full-on, you know, Bollywood style record that does numbers and becomes part of people's wedding playlists, but then also be able to go, you know, where I am in Canada and America and make records here that can work here as well. I'm trying to just do that. I'm trying to do what the Latin community has done so well, where, you know, stars like Shakira and J Balvin have been able to hit mainstream success in America, but also go back to their own native countries, home countries, and make more regional records there. So if anything, world domination is what I'm trying to accomplish, man.
And I think that Tesher, you're going to be there. You're going to be achieving everything that you've spoken to me. We've manifested this together for you, man. This is going to happen. You've given 2021 a lot of hope with your music. I think music heals. Music is therapeutic. It's cathartic. It's something that takes away most of our pain. I mean, if there are millions of people around the world dancing to your tunes, literally, in the midst of this pandemic, it is the biggest blessing one can ever have. So thanks, my man. Thank you for the music. I just quoted a line from ABBA. Thank you for the music, for giving it to me. We wish you all the very best. And before I drop this track on the show, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is my man Tesher. Bro, 2 lines before I drop the track. Just 2 lines.
Okay.
Just your hook line. I first of all, where did you get that line, brother? What a hook line?
Man, I'm a hungry guy. That's all I'll say. I'm a hungry guy.
I'm going to leave it there. Let's go for it.
Okay. I know that you want to get crazy, crazy. Shorty, take it slow, then chitty, chitty. Bana ja tu meri jalebi, baby. You know what I'ma say. Hey, baby, let me see it.
Jalebi baby. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm special for you. Thank you so much for your time, brother. My name is RJ Glenn, and we'll be signing out.
Take care.
Fever.